Kidnapping is now the booming business in Nigeria, amidst other vices that a lot of people are now engaging in. Insecurity in Nigeria has been a plaguing experience for victims and survivors. The incessant cases of killings, kidnappings, gang rape, gang crime has created a climate of fear and uncertainty and has prompted a lot of people to abandon their livelihoods and community. Case in study is Kaduna, where a lot of people are migrating from the rural area to the urban area. And this is not just Kaduna, even Zamfara. Zamfara has the highest kidnapping rates as at July this year, with over 137 kidnapped so far, with statistics even showing us there are over 7,000 people that have been kidnapped this year alone. And we are just 8 months in. This is a very, very big issue. Blessing. It
is a big issue. I remember when I think 20 students, medical students, were released from captivity, and the government brought the news and said things like they were successfully able to recover all 20 of them, and they deployed tactical measures. And people were asking, okay, what are these tactical measures? Because let's not forget, I mean, it's a beautiful thing that all 20 were recovered, but what about the thousands that were kidnapped and still in captivity? A lot of people have lost their lives. A lot of people will lose their lives, sadly. What tactical measures were adopted? And it's again this secrecy and this lack of accountability,
transparency,
lack of transparency that makes people wonder, because you're saying you deploy tactical measures. You didn't say anything about how. You categorically stated that no ransom was paid. How?
Which Nigeria has an act against in the first place.
So did you use more sophisticated weapons? Did you work together with the military or a force from another country? What is it that you did? So it's quite sad that when it comes to kidnappings in Nigeria, it's a very topsy-turvy, for the lack of better words to use, because today we're talking about ransoms, tomorrow we're against ransom, no family members should pay ransom, next tomorrow we're accidentally bombing the people that we're trying to rescue. So it's just a lot. And well, let me bring in our guest now to further discuss this with us. We're joined by a security analyst from Abuja, who we will be asking some questions, because I do really have some burning questions. We're joined by Senator Iroegbu. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us, basically, on the show.
It's quite deep, sincerely. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. Let's go straight into this, because we know that insecurity, the security architecture of Nigeria, some people will say has not even passed the foundation level, because, when you're building an apartment, you want to see it to the height of it. But in Nigeria, we have it at the very, very lowest esteem, if I can put it that way. Kidnappings are happening every day. People that even think they are safe in the south and in the west, it's worse. It's happening day in, day out. Is it that we don't have enough military power to counter this insurgency?
Okay, like is noted, Nigeria's security architecture is something that for a long time a lot of us have been canvassing for it to be recalibrated, reformed, and in order to checkmate the level of insecurity that has been going on for years now, and no matter all the efforts that have been done, you find that the more we do, the more the insecurity transforms. In a way, I think Nigerian state is doing catch-up to the kind of insecurity, because what you notice is that the old problem persists, new ones are rising up. Even where it seems as if they say, okay, this is technically defeated, it manifests in another.
Senator, are you there?
I think we lost him for a while.
So while we wait for the senator, I was also going to ask about, we've talked a lot about digital literacy, and it's quite baffling, because it looks as though the budgetary allocation for the defense sector keeps rising year in, year out.
Inflation hits it too now.
Exactly. But the security in itself is deteriorating. right? So what are we investing in? Like I asked earlier, that are we investing in state-of-the-art facilities to fight these bandits? Because again, let's not forget that, yes, there's some kidnappings that are ascribed to bandits and terrorists, but let's be honest, about 80% of kidnappers now are hungry people. So it's like basically saying the economy made some of these kidnappers, because why would you kidnap someone and you're asking for a ransom, and like you're only doing that not because you're at loggerheads with the government or something, but just because you want to eat.
You know the funny thing, when we even speak about this kidnapping of a thing, sometimes when they catch some of these bandits or kidnappers or whoever, and you see them and you wonder, okay, and some of them say, oh, they've done 2 or 3 jobs. I don't say jobs now. Kidnaps, okay? They've done 2 or 3 kidnaps and they've gotten money, about 30 million, but you can't see it in them. And you get wondering, like, this is deeper than what we can say. I think we have Senator back. Senator, you were catching your thoughts on these earlier. If you can just continue.
Okay, yes. As you rightly noted, the Nigerian security architecture needs recalibration, because the old ways of fighting insecurity, whereby we rely solely on kinetic measures, that is throwing traditional security measures, military, police, and others, are not working. If we are using it alone, it has shown over the years that it has not worked. At best, what they are going to do is try to suppress those security issues, but not rooted out. So a multifaceted approach is needed, a kind of a whole society, a whole government approach, using both kinetic and non-kinetic measures. And for instance, the issue of kidnapping has been going on. And even if, yes, we need to improve the way our kinetic approach, that's the military and the police and other supportive security agencies are doing their thing, bringing more equipment, intelligence network. But if you don't have collaboration from other aspects of insecurity, that's the non-kinetic measures. For example, a well-governed local governance system, whereby you find out that at the local level, the governance system has collapsed. There is virtually lack of government presence in most of these areas. And most of these places are places where people are marginalized. There is issue of exclusion, there's issue of marginalization, there's issue of prevailing injustice and grievances. So, and if these issues are not addressed from even the political level, from the socio-economic development aspect of it, what you find out that you continue throwing military, continue throwing soldiers and police, yet the situation will not be solved. Yes, do we need military? Do we need to improve intelligence? Do we need to improve police performance? Yes, those things are good. But without the adequate political will, without involving other aspects, ensure effective local governance system, ensure community buying. Some of us have been advocating for community policing, whereby policing and security will start from the community level down to the top. Then active, actionable intelligence will also come from that community level, where you have real-time early warning system. Then we are not going to solve all these issues. And addressing the grievances of the people and ensure that there is justice. There are a lot of injustice, whereby people are grieved. Those who are victimized are not getting justice. And in a way, they plot to also revenge. And it becomes a vicious circle. So no matter how you try to do it, there's no cooperation from the society, from the community. There are little or much the military or the police can do. Then issue of interagency collaboration or rivalry, whichever way you put it, is also another issue. So these are things that need to be done. Then dealing with the issue at the also social political level, there's a lot of polarization. So some of these things we think we can use guns and bullets to solve is something that also political will, whereby from the presidency to the level of governorship, you try and meet the combatants, the warring faction, and try to find out okay, what are the grievances? What are the needs? What are the solutions? Do you think that could be done? These things can be resolved even through dialogue, through mediation, that are genuine, where the leaders are well invested to ensure that there is peace.
Okay, so while we are reeling out some of these issues, I also want to mention the state of digital oblivion that it seems that our security sector is in, because I want us to make sense of the fact that we are in a digital age, and even bandits or kidnappers post videos of themselves with ransom payments. Some people even post videos online of themselves transporting some of their victims to the destinations. We see these videos and we're wondering, isn't there such a thing as tracking these devices? They've talked and talked. That was one of the major reasons why they wanted to remove money from circulation. That's one of the major reasons why they're adding extra tax to some of the digital transactions that we're doing. So why is it not reflecting? Why is it that every other person can easily access the digital space, but our security agencies, and this is no disrespect to the work that they're doing, but we still cannot get a hang of the digital tool, using it to our own advantage when it comes to tackling the issue of kidnapping?
That's why I said when I was talking, I mentioned that no matter how efficient, no matter how good the military, even if we have all this equipment, it can only be effective as much as the leaders want it to work. So in absence of political will and determination to deploy resources against these vices, against these threats, then there's nothing that will be done. Have you checked the speed with which all these resources are deployed to track the opponents of government or the critics of government? It's just to show you that it's still the leadership that will give directive. If the leaders are not interested and they feel that, okay, that the resources they have is not something they will start, in quote, wasting in pursuing or tracking these people, then nothing will be done. So it has shown that if these people really want to work and track, they can really track them. For example, with the recent arrest and tracking down of some investigative journalists and opposition figures, it shows that if they really determine, the leaders, that they want to nip this in the bud and try, it can be done. That's one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is you still have to work with real-time intelligence. Then how do you work with real-time intelligence? It has to be information from the local level. If the places you want to go, there are no people who can actively communicate with you and give you real-time intelligence, the location of these people and their movements, you may not be able to effectively track their location. And then the issue of development, if, okay, maybe you need to travel, you need to use the road, you need to use some other means, and there's no good road for you to quickly go there, there is no effective track road for you to quickly drive in there, then maybe you've been endangering yourself because you may be stuck in some bush paths where the enemy can easily escape from you or track you. So it still boils down to a lot of things. Development issues that are there, the issue of governance at the local level, then the issue of political will. Then before you now talk about the improved security architecture, like having the right equipment, tracking devices, intelligence network, all these things has to work
hand in hand. Blessings. It's quite unfortunate Senator didn't finish his line of thought there. I was going to ask him and have a conversation about tackling the root cause of this menace. We understand that, yes, the kinetic force is one part of it to fight it. He also mentioned the non-kinetic force, but I can picture that one of the issues we're still having in Nigeria is also the economic woes, because the economic woes is further making this state impoverished so much that people now turn to. In fact, these people are being helped by some people, right?
Exactly.
Because sometimes, even in the northern area, they pay these people to make farms for them. Someone is making their food, someone is making their clothes, someone is running these transactions for them. Not necessarily part of them, but of course, they pay them.
Yeah.
And they get their money and they move on. So these are some of the challenges that I feel is still going on. And it brings me back to the place of state policing.
Yeah.
There has been a call for state policing for the longest time, because people don't trust. You know, there's this breach, there's this gap in trust, as it has been from the beginning. If state policing is implemented, do we think it will actually make a difference?
Well, so the truth is, like you said earlier, and this is me piggybacking on what you said before state policing, which will lead to state policing, when we put together the fact that Nigerians can be opportunistic, right? In the sense that, yes, the economy is taking a downturn and hopefully it goes back up, but it's affecting everybody. But using that as an opportunity, these people, like you said, are financed by other persons. I remember one time where I think it was a diplomat that was kidnapped aboard a ship. And people were wondering how, like it literally sounded like an inside job. How is it that you just conveniently got access to the ship? Somebody must have tipped you off.
Yeah.
So it's like we have weaponized poverty in the sense that we are now using it to get what we want from the masses. And even the people have literally lost touch of integrity, dignity. None of those things matter to people anymore. And bringing it to state policing, they've always said it that the leaders are the reflection of the people, right? So I cannot say that the fact that we do not trust, there's a trust gap between ourselves and the government security agencies, and then we want to streamline it. I feel like there will still be that trust gap, right? Yes, this one is more streamlined, it's wee, but at the same time, it's like eventually there's going to be a power tussle, there's going to be a fight for power. It will no longer be about state policing. I remember one time there was an issue with Amotekun, and so it's just that you can never win with Nigerians. There's
always a way. It's like trying to curb examination malpractice.
Yes.
So this is where I also. Yeah, I understand we have Senator back. And Senator, you can also just inch in on this conversation, because I'll catch your final thoughts on this. Naturally, you would expect that these people should not be, how will I put it now? The attack shouldn't be on the poor masses who are already suffering like you, right? The attack should be on the well-to-do, not rights, don't get me wrong, but on the well-to-do, right? Like if you want to rob, you probably rob someone that is who has
what you're looking for.
Right? Who has. I was speaking to someone recently off the balcony of my house. I could see around 6:30 p.m. a.m. Pardon me. Some guys just came in with machete and robbed a guy off his phone. And I'm wondering, okay, so this guy I know the guy that was robbed off his phone. He sells pure water. Now his phone has been taken away. So how does this in any way really benefit you? It's like, man eating man doing man, rather than man doing bigger man.
Yeah.
Senator, where is the place of state policing in all of this, and how deep will it, how much will it help in terms of restoring not just the trust gap, but of course restructuring our security architecture in Nigeria?
Okay, yes, I know there have been a lot of talks about state policing. There have been pros and cons about it. I've also been an advocate of state policing, but not in a way that it should be left to the whims and caprices of our governors to use as they wish. There have to be some structures in such a way that they be kind of independent from political interference in a way. But the essence of what we are talking about to ensure that security architecture is decentralized in such a way that from the community level, we talk about community policing, we talk about state policing. So that from the local level, there can be ownership of security from the people, not just in terms of physical deployment of security measures, but in terms of early warning, early reports, early reports mechanism, in terms of actionable intelligence. So, but also this cannot be effective in the absence of effective local governance system. local governance system in Nigeria has collapsed. If you check, the level of insecurity starts getting worse. It's in line with the worsening state of local governance system in Nigeria. Before, when local governance system was quite very active, security was not worse like this. So, and once there is no government at that local level, then you have other forms of non-state actors trying to occupy this space. That is what is happening. So don't just look at only the physical traditional security, but also the whole governance trajectory in Nigeria as a whole.
Okay, Senator.
Okay.
Okay, apologies for interrupting, but because of our, we're really pressed for time. Yes, but I just want to say a big thank you, and hopefully we can have you join us again to discuss the security architecture in Nigeria. But because of time, this is as much we can take. Thank you so much, Senator Iroegbu, security analyst, joining us all the way from Abuja. Thanks for giving us your thoughts.